Everyone, so for this next problem, we have another purpose question. Now remember, when we think about purpose questions, we're always thinking about the main purpose of the passage as opposed to any supporting details, so the main points. And for any choices that we pick, we want to make sure that it truly is supported by the text and the entire choice is supported by the text. So let's take a look. Now for this problem, we looked at another purpose question before, and that one was slightly different. This one just has the section that we're talking about underlined in the passage, and then the question states which choice best describes the function of the underlined sentence in the text as a whole. So in this one, we're specifically focusing on in this sentence and sort of how it works in the context of the passage. So let's see. So the following text is from Edith Wharton's 1905 novel, The House of Mirth. Lily, Bart, and a companion are walking through a park. Okay, so Lily had no real intimacy with nature, but she had a passion for the appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was the fitting background of her own sensations. The landscape outspread below her seemed an enlargement of her present mood, and she found something of herself in its calmness, its breadth, and its long reaches. On the nearer slopes, the sugar maples wavered like pyres of light. Lower down was a massing of gray orchards, and here, there, the lingering green of an oak grove. All right. Okay, so let's see. So thinking about this sentence here, so specifically looking at this one, but let's think about what we just read. So we're talking about Lily. They're outside walking through a park, and it says she doesn't really feel that close to nature. But she does have a passion for the appropriate. And she's thinking about a scene which was the fitting background of her own sensations. So she likes the idea that kind of her surroundings can reflect what she feels inside. So then these lines in particular, the landscape outspread below her seemed an enlargement of her present mood. So she is kind of feeling that experience right now. So it says that she likes it when her mood is reflected in her surroundings, and she is experiencing that right now in this scene. And then we have a little bit more description of some trees at the end, but let's see our choices here. So again, process of elimination works best for these, so let's look at our choices. So in thinking about the function of the underlined sentence in the whole text, A, it creates a detailed image of the physical setting of the scene. What do we think about this choice? So for this one, she definitely is talking about the physical setting, but in terms of the purpose of these lines, it's not really creating a detailed image because it's more talking about, the feelings that she's feeling as opposed to any sort of image that we're supposed to see. So let's get rid of A. Then, okay, B, it establishes that a character is experiencing an internal conflict. All right, so this one doesn't really seem like the best choice, right? Because she's not experiencing any sort of conflict here. More so, I'd say a sense of harmony than anything else. So let's get rid of B. Then we have C. It makes an assertion that the next sentence then expands on. Okay, we'll have to go back and look for that one. So in terms of an assertion, so the assertion would be that the landscape seemed to be an enlargement of her present mood, okay? And then that next sentence expands on it. So we have the trees wavered like pyres of light. There was gray orchards and lingering green of an oak grove. So I don't see any sort of feelings like emotional terms in those lines, this last sentence here. So it doesn't really make sense that these lines would be expanding on the assertion that were made in the underlined portion. Let's get rid of that one. So we're just left with D, and D says it illustrates an idea that is introduced in the previous sentence. Okay, so thinking about here again, the idea that we have in these underlined lines is the fact that her surroundings are reflecting her inner mood. And in the previous sentence, so the beginning of the passage, she says that she had a passion for the appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was the fitting background of her own sensations. So this one definitely seems like a great option because it definitely does illustrate and expand on what was introduced in the previous sentence. So D is the correct choice.